This video is sponsored by Squarespace. What happens when you take a top-of-the-line iPad and put it next to a top-of-the-line Android tablet? Well, in today's Smackdown, we're gonna find out. Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals. We're talking about illustrators, designers, anybody who's used Animal Crossing's custom art creator and realized 7 hours later, whoa, I could be an artist. Today, we've got a tablet smackdown between Samsung's top-of-the-line Galaxy Tab S6 and Apple's new 2020 iPad Pro. A quick note, Samsung announced the new Galaxy Pad S6 Lite right as I was finishing this video. It's a low-price Galaxy Tab with pen capability, so when we get to the budget section of this video, I don't mention it, but know that in a few weeks it will be a thing, and I'll probably be reviewing it. We're gonna start with the hardware. First, the iPad Pro comes in two sizes. We have the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch. Samsung's Galaxy Tab S6 comes in a 10.6-inch form factor. Looking at the screen resolutions, they are comparable. The X6 has 2,560 pixels by 1,600 pixels, and the iPad 11-inch is 2,224 pixels by 1,668. One thing to note here, the difference in pixels is partially due to the aspect ratio being different, with the X6 being a 16:10 ratio and the iPad being a 4:3 ratio. Visually, they have a lot in common as well, from the more squared off edges to the antenna lines along the back, the aluminum finish, even dropping the physical face buttons that used to be on the bottom of the screen. The iPad Pro is rocking an A12Z Bionic chip, while the S6 has a Snapdragon 855. What does this mean? I don't know. What it really means is they're more than capable of handling any drawing or illustration app you throw at them. What about RAM? Both have 6 gigabytes of RAM. One difference is if you jump up to the larger storage size on the Tab S6, you're going to get another 2 gigabytes of RAM, which takes you up to 8. Storage is pretty similar, with both of these starting at 128 gigs. The iPad Pro can go all the way up to a full terabyte of storage, whereas the highest configuration of the Tab S6 maxes out at 256 gigs. Before we talk about the pens that come with these tablets, I want to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. You already know that Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a professional website, online store, or portfolio, but you can do so much more. Once your site is set up, you can grow and engage your audience with Squarespace's email campaigns. Create powerful email content that matches your website with your existing products, blog posts, and logo so that your messaging is consistent and effective. Schedule messages, manage your email list, and even set up automations all within Squarespace's easy-to-use interface. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/BradColbo to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. We are an art channel, we gotta talk about these pens. They are both rechargeable pens. The iPad recharges while you slap it along the side, and the S6 rests along this little divot located around the back. I personally prefer the side charging, but really, it's not that big a deal. Just means your Galaxy Tab doesn't sit flat when your pen is attached to it. Also, it tends to pop off easier because of the placement. One really important thing to note here is that the Galaxy Tab's pen does come packed in, where the Apple Pencil is another $130. Now, I did mention they're both battery-powered pencils, but one key difference here is that the Apple Pencil's battery is absolutely necessary for it to work. When it runs out of charge, the pencil just stops operating. The S Pen does not need that battery to draw. You can go on forever without charging and still draw using the included pen. The reason why is that the battery and the Bluetooth feature in the S Pen aren't needed for drawing. They're needed for the motion controls that Samsung has baked into the pen, like swiping to change images or using the pen to snap photos from a distance. Moving on to price, the smaller iPad Pro starts at $799 and the S6 starts at $649, but you can find them for less now that they've been out for a few months. You just have to be a little bit lucky and know how to use the Googles. It is pretty common for Samsung products to drop in price faster than Apple products do, that's for sure. Samsung products are also usually on a shorter refresh cycle. New Galaxy Tab coming out every year or so, iPad Pros about every year and a half. And of course, I mentioned before, when you're thinking about price here, the S Pen does come packed in with the S6, whereas the Apple Pencil is an extra $130. Definitely something to consider when you're looking at that purchase price. Now, neither of these comes with a keyboard cover. They both have optional covers that you could get, and both of them are fairly pricey. $180 for the Samsung book cover and $200 for the basic iPad Pro Smart Keyboard cover. And of course, you've probably seen some of the buzz around the new iPad Pro's Magic Keyboard. That's coming in May. That's going for $300 for the 11-inch iPad and $350 for the 12.9-inch iPad. It totally looks amazing, but that's like the price of the base level iPad by itself. Now, if you're looking at the price of these and thinking, that's still a lot, I understand, but you have options. You could always take a step back and get an older, refurbished iPad Pro, or you could get one of the lower end iPads that now all come with Apple Pencil support. On the Galaxy side, you could do something similar. You could grab the Tab S4, which came out about 2 years ago. Also comes with a pen, also a great drawing experience. Be careful though, the Tab S5 does not come with a pen, does not support a pen, you can't use a pen with it, so be careful there. That's something you gotta pay really close attention to with Samsung tablets, is not all of them are pen compatible. Even if you go out and buy a pen separately, it might not work with your tablet. Let's look at the drawing experience. Both of these are pretty darn good. In fact, I'd say they're better than pretty good. They're both great, or at least close to great in Samsung's case. Both are really accurate. Both have great pressure sensitivity. Both are fantastic drawing experiences, but where the Apple Pencil edges out the Wacom powered stylus that comes with the Tab S6 is palm rejection. Whenever I draw on this device, I'm always left with little dots where my palm was on the screen. That doesn't happen on the iPad. In some apps, you'll even find yourself accidentally zooming in or out from time to time because it thinks the pen is one finger and it thinks your palm is another finger. Now, this does happen from time to time, but I want to say this isn't as bad as many of the other Bluetooth styluses out there that you can get for the iPad, especially the ones that came out before the Apple Pencil. On the Android side, some apps are going to allow you to toggle off hand gestures, so when you're drawing on the canvas, those extra dots and things like that aren't going to happen. The problem here is you're giving up functionality in those apps. Things like using 2 fingers to tap to undo or pinch and zooming. It's really one of those things that's decided on an app-by-app basis. And palm rejection, which is so key to drawing on a tablet, is really one of those things that the Apple Pencil nailed from day one. On to software. I think one area where the iPad really separates itself from Android is software. Obviously, the Galaxy Tab is an incredibly capable machine, but it doesn't have the same level of software support that the iPad does. Painter is great, but I have some stability issues there, and it also has a limited number of undo. I feel the same way about everything I use on Android. Artflow, an amazing app, but I don't have as many hand gestures as I want. It just feels like everything is just so close, but not quite there yet. When you compare some of those programs to Procreate, feature for feature, not bad. But when you start looking at those pro-level apps like Photoshop, okay, wait, that's a bad example. Like Affinity Designer or Affinity Painter, you just don't have anything like that on Android. Now, I suppose much of this is just like my opinion, man, but I've been using Android a lot over the last couple years, and I've just never really settled on a good workflow that I really like. Although that might be changing sometime in the future. Krita, like full Krita, is being worked on for Android. I have no idea when that is coming out. I'm almost afraid to mention it in these videos because I know there's always going to be a handful of people asking every single week, where's Krita? Is Krita coming out? What are you doing with Krita, Brad? I don't know. I don't know anything about Android Krita. I'm not working on it. It's not my app. It's just a thing that's coming in the future. It's also one of those things that's an open source app that people are donating their time and energy to work on, so it's probably going to take longer than you want it to. My point is, don't ask me. Go to the Krita forums. And as far as me going out and testing it, I did take a brief look at it a couple weeks back, and it's just not ready for me to be taking a look at. When it's stable, I'll play with it and let you know what I think. I've always wondered, what is it about app makers? Why do they shy away from Android as a platform? Obviously, the hardware's there. The hardware is incredibly capable. And I think there are several reasons. One is that Android, being incredibly popular on phones, isn't quite as popular on tablets, especially high-end tablets. There are a lot of Android tablets out there that maybe aren't quite as expensive, more budget-based tablets, but those are not as illustration friendly. They don't have pens packed in that work natively. This creates a chicken versus egg scenario. Many illustrators are looking at Android and saying, The apps aren't quite there yet, so we're not going to purchase an Android device. You have a lot of developers saying, well, there's not a lot of artists and illustrators on Android, so maybe we shouldn't jump in and start creating software for that yet. In the early days of phones and tablets, I was a software designer, a UX designer, often working on a team of developers creating apps and things like that for phones. And one thing that was true then, and I'm not sure if it's still true now, is that we knew that we were making way more money building iOS apps than we were going out there and building Android apps. And even though that might not still hold true today, they may have evened out quite a bit. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, I'm not sure. But what that time did is it gave Apple and iOS basically a 5-year head start, with a lot of developers starting to work on software before people were really taking Android seriously as a place to make money and profit on their work, make a living off their work. So what's my end verdict? I think if you watch my videos, you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to the software support that is available for the iPad. It really edges out Android in that way. And like I've said before, I really love the Android hardware, especially a lot of the stuff that Samsung's doing. My primary phone is an Android phone, but when it comes to drawing and it comes to illustration, I really do love the iPad. I love using it. It's a fantastic drawing experience with fantastic apps to back it up. So at the end of the day, in this video, what my verdict is I'm just gonna give the edge to the iPad for now. Maybe in a couple years when Android catches up, I think that ecosystem has a lot of potential, but it's just not there yet. Feels like it's about 5 years behind where the iPad is. So what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.